The heater on, so I guess I've just got to switch one pump on. So let's try that. Now that's coming up too fast. Oh shit! That's too fast. That's too fast. That's too fast. So switch that off. And how do we get into the other one? Yeah, I can't. I've got to now get that into there. So I'll switch everything off again. Well, it's on its maiden voyage. I've got my well-used ground wheeler, real British ale book out, and I'm just doing a Marston's Burton Bitter, and some of the ingredients is a bit strange. I've got 210 grams of white sugar. Never used that yet, so that's interesting. Just cleaning my keg out to keg up my stout that I've done, a kicked stout. But forget all of that. Look what I've got running. I've got me FartHERMS fart machine, and you might wonder what the hell I'm doing with all these tea towels and bits of you know, towels and that. Well, what I'm doing, look, I'm just covering the pipes up to keep it totally you know, like insulated. So I've just whacked some bits and bobs over the pipes. My cushions are on the top, and that's hardly come on, look. I've mashed in there, look, in the mash tun. I've whacked my correct amount of grain, and I'm just doing well, I didn't show you me, you know, douging in and that, because I'm sure you've seen that all before, but I've just got it all covered up. And according to the recipe, I've got to keep it at 66, so it's working really well at the moment. It's varying very slightly. I've got to do it for an hour and a half. We're 50 minutes in, and yeah, so it's whizzing round. I've had some nice feedback. Tony Yates reckons I need to change my pipes, which is not a bad idea. These are sort of rubber pipes, I suppose, or plastic, I don't know. They're rubber, plastic, I don't know what they're made out, but he reckons they ought to be silicone to make a really great brew, so I'm going to be doing that. And yeah, so we're whizzing around. It looks really Heath Robinson, but what I'm trying to do is just keep the warm thing. So once I get to sort of mash out stage, shall we have a little peek? Shall we have a little peek now, see what's happening? There we go, look. So that's smells delicious, but look at all the steam coming out, and it's whizzing round and looking quite clear, I suppose. The false bottom must be working because it's flowing. It's flowing, it is. So yeah, excuse the you know, is it supposed? Do you reckon it's supposed to look nice when you're doing a brew? Because to be honest, I think it's you gotta make it functional, ain't you? So yeah, so whoops, what's that? Get me all right. Yeah, so it's on the maiden voyage. I'm very pleased with the way it's going at the moment. So I'm gonna whack some beer in my keg and go from there. It's going to get noisy later on because the next door neighbour are doing alterations, but I'll come back. I'm going to mash out at what was it? Can't remember what it were. I think it was 78. Mash out at 78. So once I've done my hour and a half, I'm going to get the mash up, and then I'll start sparging, and I'll come back when I get to that position. I'm very near to mash out temperature, so I think it's time to start taking bits and bobs off. So let's have a look in here for a start, see what's cracking off. not looked in here for over an hour, so whether it's stuck or not I don't know. So we'll take those off. Lovely and warm. So it's obviously stopped a lot of the heat. Let's move these out of the way and then I can slide that lid over there. Okay, so let's have a look. Ooh, scary. Quite a lot of steam coming off, but it's whizzing round okay, so let's rest that there. Look like it's squashing there a little bit. There we go. So what I've got to do next is sparge. So I guess I've got to switch everything off and get me thinking head on of how it works. So let's switch the heater off and the pumps. Right. Yeah. Right. So I want, let's get these pipes off here. I want to, really gets you thinking, this malarkey does. Right, so what I want to do is get the hot water from there, which is at strike temperature, not strike temperature, sparge temperature. So to do that, I've got to connect this to this and then switch the valves about. So I'll do that next and we'll see where we are. Okay, so I think I'm right. Now this has been stopped and that's the one that sort of sends the water back into the top to whiz it round to disrupt the water, so it keeps it steady. That's the outlet out of here, so that's, then it goes down into the pump, down the bottom and back up, right, so it's coming back up into this one, that one there, look, which comes out the bottom one there. That's blocked off so it can't go up, so it's only one way it can go, which is this way, which is open, so that goes down there. Bloody hell. That's open. It can't go down because it's a one-way pump, so it's got to go up. I've undone that, so it'll whiz through there, through the coil, push all the beer out, back down here into the top of the there. So let's see what happens. I suppose I've got to control the flow to make it slow as well. Okay, put the heater on, so I guess I've just got to switch one pump on, so let's try that. Now that's coming up too fast. Oh shit, that's too fast, that's too fast, that's too fast. So switch that off. And how do we get into the other one? Yeah, I can't. I've got to now get that into there. So I'll switch everything off again. So I'm heating the water, I guess, to get the right temperature again. I want to sparge at 78. And I've figured out how to get that out of there into there, and that's gravity. Must be a better way of doing it. We're doing it nice and slow, and I don't know how fast this is, so let's have a look. Oh, far too fast. So I've got to slow that down. I think it was. It's going out nice and clear, but it's a bit too full on here at the moment, so I've switched the motor off to get it down so it's just above the grain bed, and then I'll switch it back on again. All good fun. So I'll let that go down a bit. I don't know whether that's too fast or not. It's supposed to take about an hour to come out. And according to Tony Yates, the expert in this field, on the bricks or the whatever it is, don't live any less than 1008. Got to get up to 25 litres in here, so oops, shed door banging. Well, that's the sparge over, so it's 25 litres dead on. So now I've got to boil it for 90 minutes, which I'll lose at least 3 litres, possibly 4 in the boil. I'll soon be ready for the break and the op edition, for the 90-minute op edition, and it's Goldings and Fuggles. So I'll wait for the break and then I'll whack them in and see how we get on. I normally do it in a net, but obviously I've got the filter in now, so this will be a bit of a test. Anyway, I'll wait for it to break and then I'll whack the things in. Here we go. I'll just hope it don't block up the false bottom. Right, set the timer. 1 hour and 20 minutes.